going on, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about the new Scott Cooper directed film, Antlers. Antlers stars Kerry Russell and Jimmy Plemons as brother and sister in an isolated Oregon town whose dark secret lead to terrifying encounters with a legendary creature who came before them. Now, this film was supposed to come out last April, but due to the 2020 pandemic, it got pushed and pushed and pushed until this weekend. And this film is based on the story, The Quiet Boy, written by Nick Acosta. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. I do apologize if I mispronounced it. The film was filmed between October and November of 2018. So this was a film long into production, and due to the pandemic, it got pushed further along. But we finally got it this weekend, and I remember watching the trailer for this film in last year's The Invincible Man. So I was really looking forward to this film, and due to that shutdown, we had to wait a little bit longer, but nonetheless, we finally got it. And so I was really surprised by the film by a lot of things. And so we're basically just going to be talking about the way that this film is structured and the way that this film is produced, because I am a huge Guillermo del Toro fan, and I was really excited when he finally won his Oscar back in 2018. And this guy is just one of the best persons to create worlds and differentiate himself from other people. You look at his work from Hellboy to The Shape of Water, and you see something different, especially when it comes to Pan's Labyrinth, which is one of my favorite Guillermo del Toro films. And so I was really looking forward to going into this film. I actually thought he was the director of the film. I didn't know Scott Cooper was the director of the film, so I went into this film semi-blind. But Kerry Russell, in my opinion, is an underrated actress. I grew up watching her in August Rush. Never saw Waitress, but was aware of that film. She came out in 2007. Then she did a couple of other small things. She's been in TV here and there, and she came back in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which I absolutely loved, and even had a small part in The Rise of Skywalker. And for what this movie was, she actually did a really good job of not only getting us emotionally invested in the character, but her journey into the character that she sees in somebody else. This film is really heavy and it's really dense. There's a lot of things that they try to tackle, such as abuse and trauma and stuff like that. But even before we get to the creature, halfway through the film, everything between the first act and the third act, it's really heavy, and there are some really disturbing images. Enlighten the film a little bit more and gives that creepy, authentic feel. The way that the film is shot, whether it's dark in shadows or the way that the fog looks, everything in the film within the first two acts of the film is really dense, it's really heavy, and this film relies on a lot of emotional connection to the characters. You get to see some of their flashbacks in the film. However, some people won't like the first half of the film because it is really slow. It really takes a little while for us to see the creature, but when we see the creature in the film, it actually gives us a little bit more insight, and I think they did a really good job of not only modeling the creature, but the way that the CGI looked. It was hit and miss to me a couple times, but when we see it in frame and when the light is shined on the creature, it gives that little bit more authentic and creepy look to the film, because just the way that the film is structured and the way that it's designed, the way that the characters reenact with one another, it really is one of the best movies that I've seen this year. I think Jesse Plemons is another underrated actor I've come to love within these past couple of years. He was Todd in Breaking Bad, he was awesome in Game Night, and he really shines playing another and completely different type of cop. I don't remember much of the trailer going into the film because, like I said, it was 2 years ago since I last saw the trailer for this film. And I know they showed it like a couple times in other movies, but I really wasn't paying that much attention to the trailer. So really, to me, the last time that I saw the trailer was 2 years ago with The Invincible Man. And so I was really surprised by the way that the film structured, the way that the film went, the way it was paced. I think the film is going to turn off a lot of people when it comes to the slow pacing of the film. However, once we get into the last half of the film and we get a little bit more details about what the creature is and what its intentions are, that's when the movie really shines and it really brings in that carnage, because there is a lot of gruesome images in this film, whether you're talking about animals or humans. A lot of that is going to either entice a lot of people or it's going to turn off a lot of people. This film is definitely not going to be for a lot of people. It definitely was for me, but I think it's just because the way that Guillermo del Toro produces his films and the way he wants to bring his visions alive, whether it's him behind the camera or somebody like Scott Cooper, who did a really great job in this film, not only with the atmospheric tone of the film, but the way that the film was shot, the way that he places the camera without making us look deep into the creature. And I think that's something that really is indicative of this film. I think it relies more on the tone of being able to not see the creature but still get a little bit of creepy tone and structure throughout the film. And that's something that I'm going to be highlighting a lot, because this is a really creepy film. Even before the creature comes up, it really has a lot of things to say, not only about things that the characters are going through, and even the kid who plays, I believe the kid's name in the film is Lucas. He did a really good job. I do apologize if I forget his name, but I think he did a really good job of not only us getting emotionally invested in his character, or even when we get a flashback into his past, we really get emotionally invested. And I was really getting a little bit teared up because you really feel bad for this kid going through this trauma, going through this thing that he's not supposed to be going through at such a young age. And he really did a really good job of conveying that to us as the audience. And I know a lot of people aren't going to be checking this film out in theaters this weekend. I hope you do, because I think this is a really well done horror film, especially for this weekend. I think this is going to be a cult classic. The film is very, very slow moving within the first 2 acts of the film, which is probably going to be turning off a lot of people. But once we get into the 3rd act, it's really frightening, it's really scary, it's really heart pumping, it's really tense, disturbing for some. And I think this was a perfect delivery of scares, story, and characters, because that is something that really hold the movie for me. If you don't get me invested in the characters, then you basically just lost me throughout the whole film. But I really like what I saw. I like what the direction that Scott Cooper gave us, and so I'm really invested in what Scott Cooper does moving forward. But overall, I'm going to go ahead and give Antlers a 7 out of 10. I do think that the slow moving pace of the film in the first 2 acts of the film will drag for a lot of people, and it definitely dragged for me. But even if it dragged, it gave us a little bit more of the characters, a little bit more of the tension, something that I really wanted to see this movie convey. And I think you could have added a couple more minutes maybe, but I really like what I saw. Overall, what did you guys think about Antlers? Have you seen it? Are you going to check it out this weekend? Go ahead and let me know down in the comments what you think of it. I'm going to be having a couple more reviews hopefully this weekend. Tonight, I'm hoping to go see Mass, Last Night in Soho, and a couple of other films. Tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and see if I get up early enough to go see my early screening of Clifford the Big Red Dog. Not really looking forward to that film, but hopefully I'll be able to have a review for that film on Sunday or maybe tomorrow. Who knows? But until next time, this is Josie Reviews.